Do the roll call.
Director Crane.
Present.
Alternate Director Pollen.
Present.
Director Cardoza.
Present.
Director White.
Present.
Chair Brown.
Here. And
Director Brown.
Here.
just in time.
Traffic,
Oh, I know. It's been crazy.
sort of construction and chaos.
Made the mistake of getting on
So,
the
Mr.
freeway.
Chris Watt, why don't you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Real quick, I did the same thing. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. Next item, consent. Approval of the minutes for the May 10th, 2018 meeting. Vice Chair Crane.
I move approval with the correction that Crane was here last time.
And I do remember that, so we'll get your name added. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Vice Chair Crane, second by Director White. Sarah, do we do a roll call vote or we don't vote by the button? Yeah, okay.
Okay. Director Crane.
Aye.
Alternate Director Pollen.
Aye.
Director Cardoza.
Aye.
Director White.
Aye.
Director Brown. And Chair Brown.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously with Director Brown abstaining.
All righty. Moving forward, staff updates. You want to include the re-ranking information, or should we do that under director's reports, or?
We can do that now.
Okay.
Sarah DeKent, Mendocino County. Just really quickly, DDR did do their new ranking. Our ranking changed slightly, but we didn't get any new basins, so it is still only Ukiah Valley Basin that's a medium priority in Mendocino County.
Right, and I think we clicked up a couple of points on their bulletin, 118, and that was because of what we call number 8 was a new criteria that was added when Sigma Law was approved. So, but that's really good news. Sonoma County, they weren't so lucky, I guess you would say. Alexander Valley is now in, and they expanded, I believe, one of their other areas. It may have been on the Santa Rosa Plain, but I'm not sure. So, anyway, but I felt that was important. They do have public comment, and that would be after 60 days following the release. So the timelines are basically public meetings will be held June 25th through the 27th. Public comment closes on July 18th, and then the final would come out mid-October. And then they will do some modifications, and that has fall date as well into December. But if anyone wants to look at the information I have, happy to share it. Okay, moving forward then, public comments on items not on the agenda. If anyone has public comments, please come forward. State your name for the record. Seeing no one, we'll move forward. So we do have an action item, and that's discussion and possible action regarding an agreement with Larry Walker and Associates in the amount of $736,400 from when agreement is fully executed through December 30th, 2021 for Phase 2 of the Ukiah Valley Groundwater Sustainability Plan development. And we have you here with us today, and I'll have you introduce yourself in just a moment. And this will be to review the agreement, but I believe you have a presentation as well?
Yes.
Okay, so staff, Sarah?
Sarah Duquette, Mendocino County. So back in August of 2017, your board authorized the Mendocino County Water Agency to move forward with a grant application for the Phase 2 project. We moved forward, we'd applied, and then in January, your board authorized the county to go out for a request for proposals for a vendor to assist us with Phase 2 of the plan. So we went through the process of the RFP. The resulting recommendation from the purchasing agent was to enter into a contract with Larry Walker and Associates. So inside your packet, you have the draft contract, and it includes the scope of work and the payment terms. This contract is going to be funded by the grant. It will be managed by the Mendocino County Water Agency, and once you approve moving forward, it will go to the Mendocino County Board of Supervisors for final approval to enter into the contractual agreement. And we have Larry Walker and Associates here today to give you kind of an overview of the Phase 2 project and to answer any of your questions. And then the recommended action today would be to give direction to staff if you would like any changes or anything else included in the contract, and then to recommend approval of this agreement to the Mendocino County Board of Supervisors. And with that, I'll turn it over to Larry Walker and Associates for them to introduce themselves, and we'll get going on the presentation.
Good afternoon. I'm Tom Grovog. I'm a senior executive, former president of Larry Walker Associates, and I'm here today with Brian Lawrenson, who's senior vice president with our company. We're very happy to be here today to be able to chat with you. And would you like me to stand at the podium, or is it okay to talk from here?
You are just perfect right there as well.
Okay, great. So in our presentation today, just wanted to give you a little bit of information in terms of who we are and what our company does, the other team members that we have, and then our thoughts about what we will accomplish in the project, and also some of the keys to success going forward to develop a groundwater sustainability plan that works first and foremost locally and for stakeholders here in the basin, but also ultimately is approvable by DWR at the end of the day. So with that, I'll also say that Brian and I are kind of operating at the executive level of our firm. Laura Folia, Dr. Laura Folia, will be the project manager for the project. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to be here today. She's over in Germany doing some work for the European Union that she is just wrapping up there. So she would very much have liked to be here today. And then our other team members, we didn't think that we needed to bring the whole team here today, but we do have some excellent team members that I'll talk about. So again, just for this overview presentation today, talk about our team, keys to success, and then our approach. Our team is comprised of our firm, Larry Walker Associates, also GEI Consultants. GEI is a firm they have a main office in Sacramento, but they operate around the state and are one of the consultants who's been retained by DWR to help them with the SIGMA process. They've developed some of the best management practices. In particular, they've developed best management practices on database management, which is the role they'll be filling on our team. So they're very well connected into the kind of statewide DWR side of SIGMA. Also, UC Davis, who has been active, is also a team member. Sam Solis, Dr. Solis, it will be a vital member of our team. And then SCI Consulting, they're a financial, their specialty is more in the rate studies. So there's a task in the GSP where they will be the lead on that side of what we're doing for you. A little bit about Larry Walker Associates. We're headquartered in Davis. We're founded in 1979. We're about a firm of about 50 people. Our main office is in Davis. We also have offices in Southern California and the Bay Area, smaller offices. We're engineers, scientists, and groundwater specialists. We kind of, our client base includes municipal agencies. We work for 2 major ag coalitions in the state on the irrigated lands program. We also work for counties, water agencies, and others. We've been basically all our work is in California, and the breadth of what we work on, we actually work for the city of Ukiah on their NPDES permit. We've worked with Sonoma County Water Agency on some of their wastewater issues. We work around the state on stormwater quality issues, and have an active arm. Brian heads up our group that leads monitoring. Both groundwater and surface water monitoring. So just to give you a flavor, that's the type of work that we specialize in. Most of the time on the projects that I work on now, Brian works on, are done in a stakeholder environment. So we operating in a stakeholder environment and performing outreach and working with diverse groups of stakeholders is kind of part of what we do. So that, I think, also is a good fit for what is supposed to happen in the development of the GSP according to DWR, their regulations and guidance. So that's kind of just a quick overview. And then in terms of other qualifications for this project, we, with our team members, have knowledge and expertise working in the Russian River Basin, and especially with UCD's work to date, have good knowledge so we can hit the ground running to get going and pick up from what's been done and capitalize on that knowledge to start the GSP. Just generally, our firm, our reputation is that we're strong both in the technical area and also in managing our projects. Laura, Dr. Folia, her background started in groundwater. She's a groundwater modeling expert, and she cut her teeth working with USGS and their models, which is a nice fit here with USGS modeling that's gone on in the valley, and the work that the Sonoma County Water Agency is doing with USGS. We also have GSP experience in other basins, and I can talk briefly about that in the next slide. And then a real good in-depth understanding of what Sigma requires and expects. And then, as I said, strong point of our firm is in working with diverse stakeholder interests. This map shows the red dots, or the various dots just show where we have worked for people to date on Sigma. Not all of those are GSPs, because the development of GSPs is kind of a new thing. A couple, GEI is working down in the San Joaquin Valley on some of the critically overdrafted basins, and those are on a tighter time frame for delivery. Those are 2020 instead of 2022. So so they're already up and running, and we see that as a bit of an advantage, that being able to capitalize on some of the experience that they may gain, although it's a the undesirable conditions that they have in the lower San Joaquin are much different than your situation here, where, you know, it's a much more focus on the groundwater, surface water interactions. Our project team organization, and this is kind of detailed and maybe hard to read, but just to, again, in this chart, as I said, Laura sits in the project manager spot of this chart over our team. Myself, Dr. Solis, and Denise Connors, who's the person in our firm who works for the city on NPDES permitting, all are available and will serve as strategic advisors. And then we've broken up the various tasks that are shown in the contract into leadership. And so our firm is heading up the tasks shown to the far left. GEI is going to help with facilitation and outreach. They're going to be the lead on the database management system. And also they're the lead on the hydrogeologic conceptual modeling piece. UC Davis will continue the work that they've already done and supplement in tasks 6, 8, 9, and 10, which is historical and current conditions, the water budget, and then task 9 is kind of pulling that together into a report, and then developing some work on future baseline for the water budget. So they're going to kind of play to their strengths. And then, as I said, SCI on the financial evaluation, which is task 16 in the scope. As I said earlier, keys to success, and our goal as we start the project, and we really haven't had a chance to yet to work with any of you or your staff, and we're very much looking forward to being able to do that in July, August. But going in, you know, we understand that we need a GSP that's acceptable to DWR and locally. And that's going to involve effective communication and community involvement, on-time, effective, and successful deliverables that are specified in the contract. A piece of any GSP, and it's certainly in this case, is to either develop or refine models, the database, or tools, I should say, which includes the database management system, groundwater, surface water models that are not only useful for this planning effort, but that will also be useful to you as the GSA going forward into the future to help manage the basin. And then we also see that it's effective coordination with the USGS modeling effort is a key to success. A little bit more, the first thing that we will do, one of the early tasks, is to develop a communications and engagement plan, and that's really a plan in how we will interact with the GSA, with the Technical Advisory Committee, with various work groups and stakeholder groups. And so we'll be developing that interactively with you, and to make sure we've identified key stakeholders, develop our approach for how to engage and who should engage and how best to create that system. Really, to identify the timing and purpose of meetings, one of the things we want to do is really think through the logical flow of the work. We know that your time is precious, and we don't want to have meetings just to have meetings. We want them to be organized in a way that's efficient for you and to track the progress of the work as it goes on. And so that's what we will our thinking will be captured in this plan to outline that, which we will review with you before, and then we'll use that as kind of our setting the schedule, getting meetings calendared, and moving through the project. As we go through, it may change, and we will have to be adaptable, but I think it'll be a good roadmap for us from the outset. And then also part of the engagement will be customization of the website. That'll fall. GEI is going to help pick that up in their database management work. Oh, here's a chart you really can't see, but the main thing is, in terms of the type of roadmap, this is just kind of the schedule and with who and when, and so anyway, this will be something that you will be able to read when we produce it in the communication and engagement plan. So now I'll just kind of switch over and to talking a little bit about the way we see what goes into developing an approvable and acceptable groundwater sustainability plan. We start at the bottom of the pyramid with kind of really a good understanding of the physics and the kind of the existing conditions here in the basin. Really get a good handle on that through the conceptual model, the water budget, that kind of, and this, we will capitalize on work that's been done to date and build on that to establish that foundation. From there, one of the assignments within the GSP regs is to set sustainability criteria, and so that'll be that's where the stakeholder outreach, the very close working with you to really assess, and in particular in the groundwater surface water interaction arena, what are we going to set forward as the metrics that we're trying to hit 20 years down the road with this GSP? So we'll use our modeling tools and existing information. We'll talk about maybe adding to data to supplement that, but it's really kind of an interactive by using models to run scenarios to make sure that we set criteria that are achievable. I think we see that as an important aspect of kind of that second level of name your poison in terms of what you're going to try to hit, and do so but with some forethought of what it would take to achieve that, and make sure that it's an aspirational goal but that it's achievable. And then the next layer up, the projects and management actions, will work closely with you to identify what are the tools in the toolkit in terms of what we can manage, and what those tools, management actions that could be taken to achieve the sustainability criteria, and then on to implementation. So that in a nutshell, it's understanding the system, building tools to do the planning, setting our goals and objectives, and then constructing the plan off of that with heavy engagement with stakeholders. Data management approach. This is a slide we used in our interview, and I'm not going to go through this in detail, but this is the kind of thinking that GEI has brought in terms of establishing a database, some web-based portals that may be useful, also other types of materials to use in engaging and letting people know, running a transparent process. There are quite a few requirements that DWR has established for exactly keeping track of who do you meet with, and what type of documenting what your process will be, and then how you implement it. And so this data management tools developed in Task 3 will be useful to help you as the GSA fulfill those requirements. The modeling approach, and I won't pretend to be a groundwater modeling expert, but Laura and others in our staff are expert groundwater modelers, and they will build off the existing ModFlow model. Part of our charge is to work interactively with you and your staff to refine models, to possibly integrate mod flow and GS flow, the USGS model that they're developing, and to use models as part of. We've found that effective use of models, not at a detail level, but at the output level, is really helpful for people to see when we, implement certain measures, what are the effects of that, and what would be the effect on various stakeholders. So we're big believers in the use of models in stakeholder processes to effectively communicate, get everybody on the same page, really understand the system before finalizing anything. So that's the main that's the main thing I want to say. I would just say that this groundwater modeling is a strength of our team, and Laura, Dr. Folia, has worked successfully up in Siskiyou County with stakeholders in this approach I just described. So she's got a good track record of doing that type of thing already here in the state. And then in settings, I kind of covered this already, but in setting sustainability criteria, we will do that as with knowledge of what our different projects and management actions are, and set those criteria in an interactive way. And then obviously coordination with Sonoma County Water Agency is an important aspect of this project, because each GSA and the GSPs have to address effects on your neighboring basins, and so we will work interactively with them. Also, given the nature of the importance of Lake Mendocino as the surface water supply to this basin, we will, that's another reason that close coordination with neighbors will be important. So developing tools that can easily be integrated and shared, and leveraging resources, and then providing very clear assumptions and documentation of what we're doing to enhance communication and set up really long-term management of the entire watershed. So trying to link the different tools together so we can talk the same language and have agreement on the basic data and information we see that as very important. So just in summary, our team is raring to go. We're very much looking forward to working with you on this. We think we're a real good team to do what you need. We still don't know you that well yet, and so I don't want to be presumptive about that, but we're very much looking forward to getting to know you. And we will keep a focus on building tools and information for you that you're going to be able to use beyond just the completion of the GSP. And we understand the need to set the whole plan is geared around setting criteria that are achievable in the 20-year time horizon. So our last slide, our first steps as we get going will be to have a kickoff meeting to, as I said, to dive in and really produce a draft communication and engagement plan that we'll work with you on to get our schedule set. And to actually use that to start the stakeholder process. And then also our team wants to work with you in terms of DWR does offer some additional grants for technical support services in the area of both data collection, and we see a need for more data to make this good linkage between groundwater and surface water, and also stakeholder facilitation. That they are offering money for that, and so I guess we're just recognizing that we would want to work with you to maybe make application for those funds early in the process. And that's all I had.
Okay, I think we might have some questions, but I particularly want to ask, you talked about coordination with Sonoma County Water Agency. They have a seat on our TAC.
Right.
And so I would prefer that, any engagement be through that
Oh, sure.
TAC.
Sure.
So all of our team is together in the room
Yes.
with you.
That makes total
So
sense.
I really encourage that.
Okay.
And then when you're talking about facilitation and outreach, I go to page 14 of the contract. And it's task 2, facilitation and outreach. And there are some bullet points listing various meetings. And so I guess my question there, what will be the board's and the tax, what is expected of us for these public processes? Would it be in a meeting like this? Is it another type of a meeting where everybody sits around the table? I think each one of the directors would want to know what the commitment is of them
Right.
and how you foresee it.
Well, I think that's part of this communication and engagement plan, to really engage with you early to figure that out.
Okay.
Really,
Oh, okay.
In terms of what's the most value-added way to have these meetings. And we've kind of stated that this is kind of the early estimate. And so we just want to make sure that these numbers all match up with what really makes sense in terms of, stepping our way through the project, and that they're happening at the right time. And I think part of our thinking is to almost think of what the agenda for various meetings would be through the next couple years, and really think it through in terms of how this will progress, at least at the outset. As I said, I'm sure it'll change as things come up, but yes, so I think that's to be determined, really, in terms of the type of meeting, whether it's formal or more of a working meeting.
And then again, on the USGS study that's taking place now, Sonoma County Water Agency, but we're all cooperators in that study and have paid a certain portion.
Okay.
So we're part of that process, just so you realize that.
Great.
Anyone else? Mr. White.
Yeah, I'm encouraged by you guys. I think that you bring what we need, and I'm no expert, believe me. So my questions may seem simple, but I was looking at this, the tasks, and on task 17. There's the way it's stated, and it's probably has to be that way to satisfy the state or something. But on the second bullet, it says how demonstrate that the GSP implementation spans a 50-year planning horizon, and that sustainability goals will be achieved in 20 years.
Right.
Okay. Using the phraseology "will be achieved" presumes that we are not sustainable, and from the beginning, we've all kind of questioned whether we really have a problem, and what little work has been done to date hasn't really identified any real major problem.
Right.
So, I want to make sure that we go into this. Well, if you get back to task 6, where it's historical and current conditions, the first bullet was identify and address undesirable results. Well, it assumes we'll have some, but we may not.
Right.
I think is a possibility. And, the final bullet, document historical and current groundwater conditions. It's possible that at the end of this, we'll have demonstrated that things are good as long as nothing major changes. Will continue to be good. Here's the things we keep an eye on that would indicate that we're not good. So just, it doesn't come out clearly in the way this language is here that is a distinct possibility, and from our point of view, that would be the desired outcome.
Yes.
But I just wanted to raise that.
Yeah, some of this language is pretty formulaic, and it is because it's what DWR requires of each GSP, but it's certainly what you just said matches our take as we enter into the project, that really the only undesirable result to really focus on is the surface water groundwater interaction, and partly it's out of the GSP it would be documentation of various things can happen in the future. We can use our model to assess those scenarios, and it would be kind of insurance that it's going to be good. There's a 2015 benchmark that's used kind of as one of the baseline conditions in the GSP process. So part of it will be, okay, here, what have we been in 2015, and make sure that we hold that 20 years out with all the different things that might happen. There's some requirements to address climate change and just different land uses that might occur, anything that's changing in the basin. So I would agree with you. Existing condition looks really good. And then, so part of this process will just be to think through and document analytically that, to make sure that if there is something that pops up that would be a problem causer, that the plan would deal with it and you would know about it.
So the surface water, so it sounds like the real issue for us, and this is kind of what hooked us into this thing, was the surface water groundwater interaction. I'm not clear on what the criteria are for a good or bad interaction. It's just a phrase, but what quantifiable?
It's in real terms. It's the issue of and you have some places in the state where the stream dries up in the summertime, right, because of groundwater pumping. We work now in the Cosumnes Basin down near Sacramento, and that's basically the situation, that it's been overpumped for ag use and for municipal use. So they've literally dried up the Cosumnes River in the summer. And so they need to address that problem. I think in your case, in the summertime, there's a drop-off where the river becomes a losing stream rather than a gaining stream, which it is in the other part of the year. And so it's just assessing what's going on, making sure that you don't, because for fisheries and groundwater dependent ecosystems, there's the terminology they use in the Sigma process, but it's to make sure that you maintain the river in the summer. And so with whatever new groundwater pumping that might happen or land use change.
Well, is that maintaining the river? We have this 2015 benchmark or something, so it's like maintain it as it existed in 2015?
That's one of the checkpoints.
Okay.
Definitely.
Not like maintain it before we put the dam in and
no,
excised the river and drained all the groundwater into the...
No, it's more...
We're not going to have to take the dam out?
No, it's officially, it is
Okay.
2015, right.
Okay.
But so it's a healthy, because you do have a system that does have that, where it changes seasonally from gaining to losing. I think that's becomes your undesirable result you want to make sure that you plan to avoid.
Okay.
A lot of places in the state, they have, like I mentioned, GEI working down in the San Joaquin. I mean, they've got subsidence. They've got all these huge issues where the groundwater table has been dropping, and so that's a whole different situation. You are in a way different condition than that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Director Brown, I can never see you over there. I'm going to have to make you move. We tried to put you exactly where you sit each time. Did you have any questions? Okay. Okay. Maybe this is a question for our staff. And in the contract, so Ms. Duquette, who holds the funds? Do we get the full amount, or do what is the process for us to pay our contractors for the work being done?
Sarah DeCat, Mendocino County. So like most grants, it's a reimbursable grant. So that's kind of the reason why the Mendocino County Water Agency is managing the grant and the Board of Supervisors will approve it. Essentially, we're fronting the money and we get reimbursed from DWR by either, depending on how they were going to manage the grant, it could be monthly invoices, it could be quarterly invoices. So we pay the contract and we get reimbursed for DWR.
Okay, and how will this board, how will the accounting be reported to us? Would that be on a monthly or quarterly basis?
It could be at the discretion of your board. We did build this into the water agency's budget, and we would have adjust depending on the projection of how much we're going to spend per year. Sure. And it would be up to you. We have in the contract the estimate of the dollar amount per task. And so if you want to see quarterly reports of where we are, how much we've spent, we could easily do that. It would be up to the discretion of the board how often they'd like those financial reports.
Okay, and then it says, the language says the department will be going over the billing, the invoices, reviewed by the department within 7 days. Who's the department?
The department is the county, the water agency. So we do that now. You can bill pretty much once a month. We review the invoices to make sure that the invoices and the documentation match the work product. We don't have any issues or with the vendor. We don't need to change anything. And then from there it goes to payment and then we pay. And what we did with this last grant was DWR did a monthly invoicing. Okay. So we're starting the conversation with DWR with entering into the grant agreement. So we'll have more details on what our invoicing will be like.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other questions? Okay. Do I have any public comment?
Debbie Jones, Mendocino County Farm Bureau. More questions and comments, I guess. So just sort of quickly reading through some of the tasks, I know that, going on, building upon what's already been completed as part of the requirements, a couple of tasks were listed as being 100% completed. Is this completely accurate, or is there, possibilities that we're building off some of those existing tasks? I think 4 and 5 are the ones that I had listed down there. And then I guess a general comment would be, just reading through some of the tasks, there is points where the consultant will be working with the TAC and points where the consultant will be coming back to work with this agency. And I just wanted to make sure that this agency has the final review of any product that is worked on with the TAC, just because I think that's the way that it was established. So I'm sure that is the intent, just for clarification's sake. I want to make sure that that work is brought back to this board for final approval. Thank you.
Anyone else? Comment? Seeing none, Ms. Duquette?
We do have some of the tasks that were completed under our original grant, but they haven't, well, the work's been completed, they haven't gone through the formal review of the TAC and the board here, so it'll need to go through that, and Larry Walker and Associates will also be reviewing it, and we're going to provide all the work that was previously done. So it's kind of a second look at what's been completed and then going through that public process of buy-in and comments from the TAC and the UVGSA board before they're able to be included into the final product, which will be the GSP.
Director Paulin, I think task 10, the third bullet point, is the one that caught my eye, and I think you brought it up as well, that said that the client or the contractor would interact with the Sonoma County Water Agency directly. And I think that we want to make sure that that is through the TAC only, and I think you brought that up. But we wanted to make sure that if this is the contract that is being approved, that we realize that that should be through the TAC. Am I out of line in assuming that?
No, but maybe we need a response.
We can add that.
Okay.
I think that it's something that needs to be addressed.
So we could have it as interact with the Sonoma County Water Agency through the Technical Advisory Committee to agree upon data and assumptions that will affect the simulations of boundary fluxes between the two basins.
I think that would be a better language, a better way of putting that in that exact task.
And that's not
great.
a deal breaker, is it?
Oh gosh, no, no. That's
Thank you.
what we assumed to start with, but it's a good clarification.
We don't want Director Pollen to be the reason this fails.
Because you're on the TAC.
Yeah, I'm on the TAC too.
Okay, anyone else?
Thank you.
Seeing no one, I think all my questions are over. So, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
We look forward to working with you, and I do believe we need to
Yes.
we take action to recommend to the Board of Supervisors.
Yes, so you would take recommend the approval of the agreement between the Mendocino County Water Agency and Larry Walker and Associates in the amount of $736,420 for the term of June 14th, 2018 through December 30th, 2021 for Phase 2 of the Ukiah Valley Greenwater Sustainability Plan development to the Mendocino County Water Agency Board of Directors. And then it will go before the Board of Directors, which is also the Board of Supervisors, most likely on July 10th.
Okay, coming up soon. So, directors, I need a vote on this, the motion, and okay. And does the motion include the correction? Made by Director Pollen. Okay,
I'll second it.
right. We have a motion for approval with the added or changed language. Can't remember, task 10. By Vice Chair Crane. We have a second by Director White. Roll call vote, please.
Director Crane,
Aye.
Alternate Director Pollen,
Aye.
Director Cardoza,
Aye.
Director White,
Aye.
Director Brown,
Aye.
and Chair Brown.
Yes.
The vote carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving along. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Look forward to working with you.
very much. So.
Thank you.
Moving right along, B, discussion and possible adoption of the proposed fiscal year 2018-19 budget. So that's where we are.
Long way back.
Yes. Just trying to find my place.
Pretty simple.
And I'd like to ask staff maybe for
Yeah.
comment.
Sarah Duquette, Mendocino County. It's kind of crazy to think it's been one full year we've been at this. And we're back for the budget. So part of the action.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. It's been a lot longer than that. We've been working on this.
True. Last year, you agreed to, as part of the JPA agreement, each initial agency, so Upper Russian River Water Agency, City of Ukiah, Russian River Flood Control, and the County of Mendocino, paid $5,000 in dues. So we had $20,000 in a trust account that's managed by the county and our auditor controller. We're projecting at year end to have spent $5,000 of that for staffing of these meetings. And we put together another budget, and we're hopeful that we won't spend all $9,900, but trying to plan for the administrative expense of staffing the agency, as well as unexpected things that might come up, whether it's a need for legal review or supplies, communications, things like that. So the budget is before you, and we are projecting $9,900 for this year, with a little over $5,000 left in the trust account. I figure it's probably going to be similar to last year, so we will have savings and carry forward of the next year. Like we stated a year ago, we're trying to stretch the $20,000 as long as possible before having to get additional dues. That way we can have a GSP with the financial plan of how we implement the plan in place. So with that, I can take any questions you have on the budget.
Directors? Seeing none. Public, do you have comment, questions? Seeing no one come forward, it's back to the board, and we will need a motion on this.
Move approval.
He's beaten you guys every time. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Was that Director Cardoza? All righty. Any other comment? Seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Director Crane,
Aye.
Alternate Director Pollen,
Aye.
Director Cardoza,
Aye.
Director White,
Aye.
Director Brown,
Aye.
Chair Brown.
Yes.
Vote carries unanimously.
And moving right along, now we have the TAC to talk about. Discussion and possible actions related to the appointment of members to the Technical Advisory Committee representing Ukiah Valley Basin Groundwater Sustainability Agency. We need to review the proposed board appointments, and then we will need to gain approval. I don't know if anyone has questions, but I do.
I can start off by introducing a little of the background.
Okay, why don't you do that? Sorry about that.
No problem. It's Sarah Duquette, Mendocino County. Back in March, you approved the Technical Advisory Committee, and part of that is a representative and an alternate for each seat on the UVGSA. And then the California Land Stewardship, the Mendocino County Resource Conservation District, and Sonoma County Water Agency will also have a member and an alternate. I believe the TAC MOU went to Sonoma County's Board of Directors / Board of Supervisors on Tuesday. And so they'll be the last one we get for the members from them. So what we have left is for each of you to appoint. So I've been in contact with each of you. And so today, the recommended action is to appoint Technical Advisory Committee members representing each of the seats of the Ukiah Valley Basin Groundwater Sustainability Agency. From talking with each individual member, what we have so far for the County of Mendocino is Glenn McGordy as the member, the alternate myself, Sarah Duquette, City Ukiah, the member Sean White, the alternate Tim Erickson. For the Upper Russian River Water Agency and the Russian River Flood Control, right now we have one individual, Tamara Alanis. We don't have an alternate, but I believe due to staffing issues, they're still in the process of identifying who those alternates would be. So when that comes back at a later date, we'll just bring it back for approval. The tribal seat, which we have Sunny Elliott Jr. as the representative, and I believe Director Brown was also looking into who will fill the alternate, so she may have that today.
Yet to be identified.
So we'll probably
working
bring
on it.
that back. When she has that, we'll bring that back as an item. And then the Ag seat, alternate director Levi Paulin as the member, and our normal director, Zachary Robinson, as the alternate.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, does the staff have to be from the agency? I mean, when you're looking at the fact that we only have Tamara Alanis,
Yeah.
we're all chiefs and one Indian, you know?
Yeah, and that was going to be my question, is that we really need to have some alternates.
You really say that?
You mean we can't clone Tamara?
Oh, was that inappropriate? I'm sorry. I've been around too long.
It doesn't have to be staff. So the Upper Russian River Water Agency and the Russian River Flood Control, you have the discretion as the members to appoint who you want to sit on the Technical Advisory Committee. So there may be another member on your board that would be interested of being an alternate or being the member. And that could be an option, and we can always bring that back and change it however you see fit.
Vice Chair Crane,
It would seem possible for an agency,
talking to the
have-
microphone.
seems possible that an agency could appoint someone from outside of the agency with the agreement of the agency, and then this body could approve that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Great idea. Great idea. And then Director Brown, I was at a meeting yesterday, and that had to do with DWR California Water Plan update and the Russian River pilot program, and Hopland and then Big Valley each had an individual there. Hi, trying to see you. And I don't know if they would be interested
That's
to ask or
That's who I plan on talking to and have been talking to.
Okay.
There's also one other person that, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of plates going right now.
Exactly. Okay. Well, I greatly appreciated both tribal representatives in the talks yesterday. They were great.
Yeah.
And I know one's very new at Big Valley, so. Okay. All righty. So, Ms. Duquette, what would be the process when we do identify these alternates? We just get it on the agenda, you're to be notified so we can get it on the next agenda coming up and be able to approve them?
And that way, if we have the members set in place, if we move forward, as we move forward with the agreement with Larry Walker and Associates and with DWR, and we get the ball rolling, we're hoping to maybe have some type of kickoff or first meeting late summer, maybe August or September. So then you could still have a TAC in place with the members, and we can bring back the alternates at a later date, or if Upper Russian River or Flood Control would like a different person as their main member, we can make the changes then as well.
Well, I think we have some great people, and it would also maybe be advisable to talk to the RCD. Don't know if they have the time. Would you like to come forward and state your name for the record, Mike?
I'm Mike Webster with the RCD director, and they have nominated me to be on that technical advisory committee. I don't know who the alternate would be, but that's where it stands right now as far as they're concerned. And I believe that thing has been approved and sent in. Yeah.
So when all the other agencies adopt the MOU, they send with us their signed documents and who they're appointing.
Then we will have them listed, the RCD.
Yeah, so when we have our final list that will go on our website, it will be
Okay.
there. So each of the agencies that approved the MOU sent us the information.
Okay. Thank
Is that
you.
it?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike.
I have a question. Director Brown, do you think you'll have an alternate next month?
I don't see a problem with
Why don't
putting
you
it on the
just put it
agenda.
on the agenda for next month, and we'll all work it out, and we'll have our alternates all set up next month.
Any public comment, please come forward. State your name for the record.
Tamara Alaniz, Russian River Flood Control and Upper Russian River Water Agency. I intend to take this to the next Flood Control and Upper Russian Board meeting to enlist the assistance of some of our fellow compadres on the board to Al and Jerry. So I should be able to get something back to Sarah here within the next month.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one, board members? I believe we have a motion that we need to make on the listings so far of the TAC, representative, the member, and also the alternates to date. Director Brown.
I'll move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion by Director Brown, a second by Director Cardoza. Clerk, please conduct a roll call vote.
Director Crane,
Aye.
Alternate Director Pullen,
Aye.
Director Cardoza,
Aye.
Director White,
Aye.
Director Brown,
Aye.
Chair Brown.
Yes.
Vote carries unanimously.
Okay. All right, we're moving on to directors' reports. Anyone have a report? I do. I think I'm being too talkative. But I forgot to do this at our last meeting, and that was to make this announcement. And I think many of you, some of you in the room have worked with her, but Maritza Flores Marquez from UC Davis, she basically last month, well, it was the end of April, received a letter, and it was from the university's Council on Water Resources, and that was to inform her that a committee, it is of their, Journal of Contemporary Water Research and Education, the editors, associate editors, and board members has selected her paper entitled Water Budget Development for Sigma Compliance Case Study, Ukiah Valley Groundwater Basin, as one of the 2 finalists for the 2018 award. And this is in the nation.
Wow,
Yeah.
good for her.
So she will be going to Pennsylvania 26th through the 28th, but it will be at a luncheon on the 27th to learn who is the winner and who is the runner-up. But I just thought that was so wonderful. And I think I sent Sarah the link, or I sent the announcement that was made about this, and that was from Dr. Solis. And there is a link on there. It says if you want to take a look at the paper, click here. So do you still have that? Okay, or I can look, I guess, and send it to you again, so anyone that would like to review the paper can do so. But I just thought that was so wonderful, and she's great, such a great person. And then I want to announce that the next meeting will be on July 12th, and it will be here at 1:30. And anything else? Oh, I do have one more thing. I didn't write it down, but just remembered it. A couple of weeks ago, it was on a Saturday afternoon. We had the quagga smelling dogs, mussel dogs, out at Lake Mendocino. And the dogs found an infected boat. And so the boat was quarantined, and Fish and Wildlife was called, and also Sheriff's Department came down, Army Corps of Engineers, and because we do not have a decontamination facility, they escorted the boat over to Lake County to go through that process. But Sonoma County Water Agency is paying for the program and has paid for the last couple of years to have the mussels smelling dogs, and they will be at both lakes, Sonoma and Mendocino, all summer. But we all know that this is a real risk, as especially quagga mussels is marching north. And lots of boats. This is a recreational year, and Lake Mendocino has a lot of water in it this year. It's not a mud puddle, and so the risk is getting greater. Myself and Sonoma County Water Agency have been pushing the Corps. The first year that funding was available to write a plan and pay for inspection sites and also a decontamination facility for both lakes. We applied, but we were denied because we don't own the lakes. And so the following year, Army Corps did apply and did receive funding, but nothing has gone forward for 3 or so years. And we just have to get serious about this. And I guess I just got to show some muscle or something, because we can't do anything without their acceptance. But we certainly have to protect our waterways and keep them healthy and safe, and we're just going to have to get this done. So that's my final announcement. Anybody else input? Seeing none, we adjourn.